So often we look at our heroes and we're looking at what they did right. What did they do to get to where they are? But all too often we don't tend to look at what did they do wrong? The fact is, any hero you have is just a human. They're not a superhero, turns out they do have flaws and they do have mistakes. So one of the biggest educational things for me over my entire career has been, let's look at the success. Let's see what they did correct. But also, what did they do wrong? What could they have done differently that maybe would have led to a different end result? If we'll begin to look at mistakes as just input, much the way that a computer looks at it, we begin to be able to source that information and find very useful things in there. Most of my learning and largest advances come from my bigger mistakes. When I make a mistake, I immediately want to dissect it and find out what went wrong, how I can fix it, and how I can not do that again. I'll start off by saying just a couple of things. I do not intend to kick sacred cows right now. I do not want to tear down or take away anything that Buddy Rich did for the drumming community. Such a stellar talent that has motivated and inspired so many drummers. I would never want to take anything away from that. The second thing is, I'm not a doctor and I don't pretend to play one on the internet. I was a certified personal trainer for about 7 years, and that was my world while I was taking a break from doing music full-time and turning the ship to do what I do now, which is exactly this. If you know anything about Buddy Rich, you do know that later in his life, he suffered from severe and debilitating back pain. Now, I don't know anything about Buddy Rich's medical issues. I don't know anything about traumas that may have happened to him. I'm simply an observer, and I have a fact. Fact is, Buddy Rich suffered from debilitating back pain. So I want to look at that and go, well, why was that? And is there something that I can put my finger on that maybe I can do differently that maybe won't end in that result for me? So let's just put aside that there may have been some type of trauma, there may have been an illness that contributed to this. I don't know. That's not for, I don't know. Okay? But what I do know is what I can see. And what I can see is the posture on the drum kit. And it's 100% wrong in several ways. And I'm gonna go into those. I'm gonna show you exactly how you can fix it for yourself. Obviously, if you are having pain, you should consult a professional. You need, like all of those things, all those disclaimers. I am not pretending to be a doctor, but I am pretending to be something that knows a little something about back pain as I've dealt with it myself. I know a little something about the muscles and how they're connected in the body. And so I'll just offer my observations for this. If you want a resource for this, Esther Gockel has the Primal Posture Method. She also has a great book, Ignore the Name, 8 Steps to a Pain-Free Back. It's kind of a catchy name, but inside of it is just a wealth of knowledge on how you can help with your back pain and back-related things by simply improving your posture and things like that. So 2 things I really want to point, 3 things really that I want to point out, and we'll start from the bass and go up. The first thing is we obviously sit a lot as drummers, and one of the things that, one of the problems that we will see is there is a tucked posture that many of us start to sit in. And this really started coming about in around the 1920s, 1930s. Until that time, you saw people sitting very upright. Furniture was made to where you sat upright. And then you had the swingers of the 20s and the 30s, like that whole era, and everybody got cool and relaxed, and that was all neat. But the furniture design actually followed that model. And so you started seeing a lot of curved seats and a lot of people slouching. So many drummers, whenever I talk to them, one of the first things I'll do is I will address their posture from the base up. What am I talking about from the base up? If you check out, whenever we sit down, many people sit down and they tuck their bottom like that. All right, you'll see it's a very slight movement. This is not tucked, this is tucked. All right, when we sit down like this, we're starting our entire drumming session from a bad foundation. Why is this a bad foundation? I have now tucked my butt under, and I'm actually sitting more on my spine than I am on one of the largest muscle groups in the body, and that is our glutes, okay? So to correct this issue, it's a very simple thing, and we can look at someone like Antonio Sanchez. And his posture, which is phenomenal. Or you can look at someone like a Buddy Rich. Whenever you look at Buddy Rich, you will see very much he has a tucked back end, which he starts from sitting. So instead, whenever I sit, I simply just tuck that out. Instead of sitting like this and sitting down, I tuck that out slightly, and then I sit down like this. Now what happens is when I sit down and I scoot forward lightly, now you'll see I got like junk hanging off back here. I am sitting on the largest muscle that I have for stability, and also I'm sitting in a posture that's really gonna help the foundation and eliminate that low back pain. Another reason why Max Weinberg complained of back pain. Another reason is we sit so long. So when you sit, there's this issue of lengthening and shortening muscles, and you're doing one or the other. So when we sit, we have our hamstrings, and our hamstrings tie into the low back. So when we sit for long periods of time, our hamstrings get shortened. And that's why when we stand up after a long car trip, you feel things pull on your back and your low back hurts. That's why it helps to stretch, right? When you bend over to touch your toes, that's stretching or elongating that muscle. That's why stretching helps with low back pain. That's things like Pilates. That's how Max Weinberg took care of his, right? You have to take care of posture, and then you have to do the stretching and the strengthening and all those things. So when we sit for long periods of time, we are shortening the hamstring muscle. When we stand up, we are lengthening it. So in addition to addressing the way that you actually sit on your butt, you also need to incorporate light stretching routines. Again, consult a professional before you engage in any physical activity and all of those things. The second issue we have, so we have low back pain, and then there's this mid back pain that happens here. And a lot of you will get that after you play for long periods of time. So let's talk about that, and you will also see that with Buddy Rich. You will see an extreme head forward posture, which we'll talk about in a second. You will see an extreme slouch whenever he goes to play the drums. He's slouching forward very much like this on a tucked butt, okay? It's just very much a bad form to sit in, the worst form you can sit in, okay? So whenever I look at his playing, the other thing I see that the forward shoulders is a problem. So if we're sitting here correctly, but my shoulders are forward like this, and even my head is back, so my head's back and my shoulders are forward, we still have an issue. So let's break down a simple muscular structure of what's going on here. We have pushing and pulling muscles. The chest is a pushing muscle. That's why you do bench press. The shoulder is a pushing muscle. That's why we do, shoulder press. The back is a pulling muscle, right? When we pull, we're not really using our chest. Our chest is more of a stabilizing muscle, and we're pulling with our back. In your back, you have something called the scapula. And this is used, I'll skip all of the nerdy talk. Essentially, it has to do with pulling your shoulders back in place. So if you're sitting here like this, and you pull your shoulders back, without moving anything but your arms, you will feel your shoulder blades tuck in. What happens is we have something called winging whenever we start doing this, and our scapular or shoulder blades come up like this, and they get overstretched. That's the burning sensation that you feel there. They're overstretched. So what we have to do is we have to strengthen those. You can strengthen those by doing a little simple exercise like this, where you squeeze your shoulder blades together like this, and you'll feel it kind of contract. The more you do it, it's a small muscle, so the more you do it, the more you can feel it. So we can squeeze there, and that's gonna strengthen that little area. But just as important, we have to stretch or elongate this area, because these muscles are so much more powerful and strong than that little scapula area, okay? So what we wanna do is we wanna make sure that we're also doing, you can do some doorway stretches where you lean into the doorway, and that will help loosen this up and elongate that, because what's happening is the more we're forward like this, the more these are getting shortened, and so they're always pulling on that area in the back, hence that burning sensation. So not only do we have to sit with our butt out so that we have a proper structure all the way up the spine, we have to have a good, nice, straight, slight curve there, and then up the spine, we have to make sure that we're not forward like this. So that's the second thing with mid-back pain, is you're gonna start to deal with the shoulders and how they're positioned, how you're playing for long periods of time, if you're hunched like this, you should be sitting up. Again, Antonio Sanchez is a fantastic example to look at for this. So you should be sitting up straight, you should have a shoulder back posture, and you should have a head back posture, okay? Now, let's deal with that third thing. The third thing is gonna be the neck pain at the bottom here, and then here in the neck area, and that comes from this head forward posture. That head forward posture is something that we're constantly sitting in due to these phones. Like we're looking at the phone, right? That head forward posture. Look at it, they're always like this. Rarely do you see someone up like this, bringing the phone up to their face instead of like this. That's what we always see. That's why we have a lot of back pain. We are doing a lot of things that are contributing to this. So we may not, there's always outlying instances, but there are people that go with 100% no back pain and do manual labor all day. So they have to be doing something different. All right, so the third issue is going on up the back, is into the neck and into where it ties into the head. A lot of you, if you touch back here, you'll notice that it's tender. If you touch down the base here, it's tender. Okay, so now we have to deal with the head forward posture. If you look at this picture of Buddy Rich, you'll see that he has a slouched torso, so he's not sitting correctly. He also has rounded shoulders, and he has a head forward posture. All of this is going to give you pain all down your back, even if you're a strong person. You can't do that for long periods of time and not have, I'm talking extreme pain from this stuff, okay? So we fixed the foundation, we set back on our butt, we have the shoulders back so we don't have the rounded shoulders, and now we have to deal with our head. We cannot have our head forward like this, we can't have it always down like this. We have to have it in line with the rest of the body, okay? Some simple exercise you can do is you can put your hands back there and you can actually press against those hands to help strengthen those areas. You can also do what I call kind of the ducks, where you're kind of acting like a duck, where you're pushing your head forward and then pulling it back. That'll help to stretch and strengthen a little bit there. But those are the three areas that I look at Buddy Rich and I see, man, he did that wrong. I love his playing. I love the body of music he left. But when it comes to that, I don't know anything about his medical history. I don't know anything about traumas that may have happened to him, sudden impacts that may have car wrecks, things like that. But I do know that I see the way he sits, and that I know is wrong. Again, a great resource for this is Esther Gokhale. She has a primal posture. I don't know if it's a course or what, I haven't taken that, but at the least her book, and I don't get anything for selling any of this stuff, that's not my point. The book is a fantastic resource for looking at how we naturally sit, how we naturally sleep, and how our bodies are lined up to do that by looking at primal cultures as well as looking at babies and how they naturally come out and sit and stand and sleep and all of those things. What about you? Maybe a lot of you have experience with pain in your back. Put it down in the comment section. I want to start a discussion around this because this is something that I'm regularly getting emailed about and I regularly talk to students about. It's one of the first things I'll address when they come in is that, so that they don't have problems down the line. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ding that notifications bell so that you get a notification whenever a new lesson or video is uploaded as well. If this has helped you, think it may help a friend of yours, click that thumbs up button and share it with somebody that you think it may help. But no matter what you do, I'll see you here in the next lesson.